Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Sother Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson. And Sother, there is big trouble in Little City. Oh, wait, hang on. No, that's not the line. Damn it. Fuck.
Do you want to start over or do we just...
Yeah, bring me in again. Bring me again.
Sure.
It's Big Trouble in Little China and Big Trouble in River City. Big Trouble in River City. Okay.
Big
All right.
Trouble in River City. Is that where we're going?
Yep. Yeah. It's a Music Man reference. We're going to do it.
Welcome.
This is good banter. This is good B-roll. This is the content people show up here for.
Man, it's all about the B-roll.
Okay. I'm good now.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil runs his groove in them rhythm and blues that sound. It's gonna get you some in the end.
Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Sother Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson, and we got trouble here. Trouble right here in River City with our friends in the cannabis beverage industry. Sother, have you been hearing about this?
Yeah, I've seen some things, but I think you probably have a little bit more to say about it. What's going on?
Well, I wasn't aware of this, actually, until I started looking into it. Obviously, as people who are, vaguely aware, have been near a television or a newspaper at some point in the last 2 months. The government was on mandatory vacation for a little while there, because apparently that's just kind of the way the U.S. government works. We're constantly hiding from the landlord and, turning the lights off and pretending we're not home. But anyway, as part of the spending bill to reopen the government, there was a little provision tucked in there that actually undid
Sneaky
something
provisions,
in the
always
2018.
something sneaky.
It's always the sneaky little ones, man. And this one is extra sneaky, and this one is extra interesting because it's made some odd allies in the Senate. Before we get into it, I think I need to kind of do a little background on what exactly I am talking about. So the 2018 Farm Bill legalized hemp. It legalized hemp products with certain provisions. Now, hemp and marijuana are, for legal purposes here, the same thing. And you can produce hemp. You can produce a lot of things out of it, including the non-intoxicating CBD, which, that really helped to supercharge that whole industry. But it is very, very difficult to produce that plant with absolutely zero THC whatsoever. So in the 2018 Farm Bill, there was a provision that hemp produced with less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC on a per weight basis was legal. Now, the key word being there, per weight.
Right.
Because if you think about dried marijuana flower, that doesn't weigh that much. So 0.3% of that by weight isn't really going to do much.
Negligible,
That's not really going to, exactly. That's not going to get anybody anywhere if you're looking to get high. A can of beer weighs a lot more. A canned margarita weighs a lot more. An RTD weighs a lot more. So you can pack, if you take 0.3% of that and weigh it, that's going to get you pretty baked. So this is actually, I didn't even know this until I started looking into this story. That is how you start seeing all of these THC beverages that pop up in the late 2010s and early 2020s.
Got it.
It wasn't just, an immediate floodgate after the 2018 bill passed, because we actually had to make these things taste, what's the word I'm searching for? Good.
Yeah, delicious.
Yes, for a while there, and I think I'm on record as saying this, most THC beverages tasted like someone put a joint out in my beer. And
Right.
frankly,
For a
that's
while there, you
flavor
bought them
that
because
I
you
didn't
wanted
care for.
you bought them because you wanted the result. You didn't buy them because you wanted the taste. But the code got cracked, and now they're pretty delicious, right?
Yeah, and people have been, tweaking the recipe, and we've even had some folks on the show here who are making some facsimiles of THC gin, THC whiskey, THC tequila that I think are, they're not gin, whiskey, and tequila, but I think they're pretty damn good. And this has become enough of an industry, and this loophole has become lucrative enough that there are people who are looking to close this loophole. And again, as part of the spending bill, that passed. So this is law now. These businesses have 1 year from the date of that passage to get the THC out of their beverages. And as you might expect, a lot of people aren't happy about this. But the people who aren't happy about it aren't the people you would expect.
Yeah, who you got?
All right, so think about it.
I know one guy who's happy about it.
Who's the guy who's happy about it? You go first. Give us the storm cloud version.
Yeah, our old Uncle Mitch,
Cocaine Mitch.
yeah, down in Kentucky, he has big liquor in his pockets, and the liquor lobbies are pretty against these products because they cut into their market share. I saw a report that said, Mitch had received a little shy of $1 million, 900,000 and change from the liquor lobbies to push this thing forward. So Mitch making one more. We keep saying he's going to end soon, but one more desperate last grab. He's had so many last grabs, this guy.
It's weird. I never thought I'd have anything in common with Mitch McConnell, but later on when I go to the movies, I'm also going to have big liquor in my pockets. So, who knows? Strange bedfellows. But interestingly, who opposed this is the other senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul.
Shocking.
Well, the rationale kind of breaks down in an interesting way if you think about it, because, these marijuana beverages don't need this carve out in, your traditional blue states where weed is legal. Like
Right.
California, this law has been off the books for years because you don't need it. You can just go into a dispensary and buy a pre-roll or a gummy or flower or a THC beverage if that's what, strikes your fancy on that particular night.
But will this
But
reverse that? This is a federal law, right?
It reverses the passage in the Farm Bill that creates this carve out. So, for individual states, it's not, we would have heard about this if this was making pot illegal across the United States at this
No,
point.
not
I
pot,
think
but beverages,
the stoners would be, well, they wouldn't be riding in the streets, but they'd be talking about it on their couches. But
Not
the
very
interesting-
animated.
Exactly. Yeah. They'll be, man, what's a bummer,
And this blows, man.
This sucks, man. Hey, you hear Fish is coming next week? But the states that are actually mad about this, interestingly enough, are the red states, where this loophole has led to a lot of jobs and a lot of small businesses and a lot of industries. So places like Kentucky, red states where weed is not legal, but you can have marijuana beverages taking advantage of this little legal loophole to, sell to folks who might want to get high despite living in a more God-fearing state than we do here in the heathen nation of New York City. And that's led to a little cottage industry of places in your more conservative pockets of America using this little legal loophole to make these THC beverages. Interestingly, you want to know who the big heavy hitter is on the side that I agree with on this debate?
I feel like I'm about to be shocked.
Texas's own Ted Cruz,
Oh,
baby.
Teddy.
Teddy Cruz is very much in favor of saving the THC beverage industry. And I didn't really wake up this morning expecting to agree with Rand Paul and Ted Cruz, but politics, as they say, makes strange motherfuckers. And so here we are.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's crazy. Well, speaking of Texas, we have once again on the show co-owner and brand evangelist of Violet Crown Spirits, Jessica Leigh Graves. Jessica, welcome back to the Speakeasy.
Oh, or as being from Texas, I should probably say howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. It's great to have you. So you're, of course, a huge fan of Senator Ted Cruz, brave defender of burners and potheads everywhere, correct?
Well, I do send him messages frequently. So if that's a measure...
Does he ever respond? Does he write back to his good pen pal, Jess Graves?
I mean, you get those automatic emails back from stuff, but yeah, no, he doesn't care what I have to say.
Bummer.
Although I gotta say, like it has been surprising. Like in the Texas legislature, there've been a lot of state level attempts to make the THC and CBD and all that a broader and more expansive access for those of us who benefit greatly from those products. I, as a person who discovered there's a great CBD company, CBD and THC, I guess, called Sweet Sensi, that's right on Congress Avenue, like 3 blocks from the Capitol, where they debate these things. And their CBD melatonin blackberry snooze drops have transformed my sleep experience.
That's awesome.
And see, this is what's cool about this is why I want to save these businesses, not only because, I'm a hedonist libertarian who thinks that any consenting adult should be allowed to put whatever fun substances or powders into their bodies they want, because it creates these fun little beloved cottage industries that legally cannot be nationally distributed. They have to serve their own unique little pocket of the world, like these people that you used about 12 words to describe the particular gummy that you like, but they all sounded wonderful.
Yeah.
It is a lovely company, and it's an Austin-based thing, and they're I don't know, I adore them. I happened upon their stuff as a raffle prize for one of my friends, doing a fundraiser for a movie, and I got one of everything they made, and I'm kind of a brand evangelist for them too. And here's another thing about I've like gotten, I'm like, you're gonna take these home and you're gonna get better sleep. And now I have like several people who are like, I get them. I can't live without them. They're great. So like things, helping our, sleep is one of the most important parts of your health, right? Like let's
Yeah.
get that. But also, income for my business. I came here to talk about some other product, and this isn't our brand, but we bottle for it's called My Texas Hemp Company, and we make a hemp spirit. And I was like, oh, I didn't know we were gonna talk about that. This is so great. Like, it's got a little bit of like I don't know, like a cream soda kind of flavor to it. In fact, I usually
Hmm.
this the best grocery store in the whole wide world is in Texas. It's called HEB. And HEB has a store brand cherry soda, and I put my hemp spirit in the cherry soda, and it is perfect. But yeah, like getting the bitterness out of it, that people are really doing some great things to make
Yeah.
things taste better
Yeah.
and be more fun. And then, like it's it's about the same sort of like level of intoxication I would expect out of a beer, very like comfortable and enjoyable. And I wish that everybody could have a good time.
Buzzed.
I know. Yeah. Chemistry, innovation, job creation. Just keep fighting the good fight out there, Teddy boy. We're all pulling for you, bud. We're on your side this
Yeah, and then
one specific time.
yeah, and
Um,
this band would like it's like, well, I guess we're gonna have to cancel that bottling run. Sucks for that company that entirely got created since like 2021 or whatever, and then
well,
the
we got
the
we got a
work
year. We got
records.
a year until it goes into effect. So write your congressperson,
Yeah.
everyone out there, if you're pissed.
Yeah, because
Over and over again.
the last thing the American farmer needs is another kick in the nuts, but by short-sighted people, right? There's plenty of pie out there. Let's concentrate on not hoarding the whole thing. Let's concentrate on everybody getting a slice.
Yeah. Well, let's concentrate on taking a step back further into our particular wheelhouse and
Yeah.
talk about some other fun green intoxicants that we like.
Oh yeah.
Because Jess, you make the first absinthe ever in the state of Texas. Is that correct?
I mean, the first legal one anyway. I'm sure
Ah,
somebody had got a little still and did a little something. But that wasn't us. We did it above board. But yes, we founded the distillery in 2015. The first, and we remain, as far as I know, the only. So we're both the best and the worst absinthe distillery in the state of Texas.
Well, yeah,
tallest,
that's a
shortest.
great attitude to have about it. There's a plenty of mystery that shrouds absinthe. I'm sure some of our listeners are still even confused, even though we've talked about it numerous times. I used to have a bar that was all absinthe and champagne long ago. I worked
Mhm.
at the bar White Star, which was an all absinthe bar. Um, can you just talk to the listener a little bit about like what the truth is about absinthe?
Sure. So the one of the simplest ways to put it is that properly made absinthe never hurt anybody.
Mhm.
And in the Belle Epoque at the end of the 19th century, it was about as popular as like whiskey or vodka is today. And um, I like to think of the Green Fairy as the transformation it makes in the glass. Like all absinthe is very high proof alcohol because it's made similarly to gin, so it has a lot of herbs in it, and the oils from the herbs are in high proof alcohol in solution, and so it's clear in the bottle. If we bottled it at like a whiskey or a vodka proof, it would separate like salad dressing. And so you pour like an ounce of it into your glass and then add cold water, and it turns cloudy because once the alcohol is diluted, then it can't hold those herb oils in solution anymore, and it swirls around and looks really pretty. And it's nice to do that with that fountain and the slow drip, and the colder and the slower the water is, the more like you can really see the swirling of the oils as they come out and stuff. But really, you could just pour water into it and you're good to,
Yeah.
it's a just add water proposition. Um, and yeah, so I guess I mean, I could go on and on, but I feel like that's a pretty good
Well, I mean,
synopsis.
like I've described it like this, and maybe you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. It's all really comes down to sort of infrastructure. If we look back and we saw, let's go to the rolling hills of France where the vineyards were, and you have like a farmhouse, and in that farmhouse is some tables and some chairs and some wine glasses and some carafes, and the townsfolk gather here after a day in the field picking grapes or whatever, and they enjoy some wine. But then phylloxera hits and wipes out the grapes. So then the people still gather in the house is already built, the tables are there, the wine glasses and carafes are there. But it's quite Tony in the cities to be drinking absinthe, as you just mentioned. So maybe let's switch to absinthe. The problem that arises is that absinthe is quite sweet and very easy to drink generally, and it's also 4 to 5 times the ABV of wine. But this is predate, all of this conversation so far predates the advent of, science. So now the townspeople go and they have, normally I come after work and I have 4 glasses of wine. So I'm going to have 4 glasses of absinthe. Same size because that's the glass that's here. Same carafe because that's the carafe that was already here. The infrastructure's built. But suddenly I'm 5 times drunker. And if I'm, Van Gogh, I tell my best friends that I'm going to cut my ear off and mail it to my whore girlfriend. And they say, this is a great idea. And this then, and because everyone's just really, really drunk. So what happened then is the government, again, not having science, they said absinthe bad, and the world over it was criminalized.
Well, it wasn't just that, but as the wine industry began to recover from the phylloxera blight, absinthe had taken over so much market share, and so it was partially the wine industry saying, "Oh, well, that absinthe is the green devil, and wine is the blood of Christ. It's our land, our soil, our people. Like this is
Sure.
good alcohol. That's bad alcohol." Just trying to regain their market share. But yeah, it is easy to get over your skis with absinthe if you don't know like what if you're not looking at the percentage ABV on the bottle and considering how if you're diluting it like I do, it takes a minimum of like 2 parts water to 1 part absinthe to really get
For
it to like
sure.
so like there should be no clear any left in the like if you haven't poured enough water into it, there'll be like a clear band of still alcohol at the top. But if you get it diluted enough, about 2 to 1 is gets you there. But I usually dilute mine more like 5 to 1.
Hmm.
And everybody has differing preferences about exactly how much, and I usually do it with fizzy water, not with flat water and all that. But like once I've diluted it as much as I do, it's gonna be about like more between like a glass of beer and a glass of wine than if you just diluted it 2 to 1 and drank the same volume. And so like
Yeah.
not knowing the science and the numbers, you can really easily, I hear people say like, oh, I had a terrible experience on absinthe. We were doing shots, and I'm like, oh, they're drinking
Who does shots of absinthe? Yeah, exactly.
well, then you're gonna
I mean,
have
it didn't end well, but
Yeah.
like
Well,
guilty.
and this is another thing that I express to my guests all the time, or another good analogy that I use for them is to say, when you purchase a bottle of barrel strength, cask proof whiskey, this is the maker giving you the product just as it is in its raw form, thinking that you're going to go home and proof it down to where you enjoy it, right? So I think absinthe is kind of all that. Absinthe isn't necessarily as enjoyable at that high a proof because it's gonna not, it doesn't sneak up on you. It clubs you from behind, right? There's no sneaky about it. Well, listen, as being the first distiller of absinthe in the state of Texas, did you have to do any special lobbying? Because like it was 2008 or 9, right? Or no, it
that.
was 2007, 2007 when Ted Bro came on the market and he like, went in front of a judge and everything and said, look, we didn't have science back then. We thought it was the thujon caused by, from a derivative of the wormwood. That's a potential hallucinogenic, but it turns out he proved that you'd have to drink like a truckload, literally physically more than your own body weight, impossible to do to even get any small effect. And of course, that would kill you before anything happened. Um,
Sure.
so as soon as he proved that, then absinthe was decriminalized the world over. But did you have any hurdles to overcome in Texas to be the first distiller?
I mean, because our product has wormwood in it, and that's also true of our Midnight Marigold liqueur, and anything that has wormwood in it has to be tested by the TTB. So there's just one
Hmm.
additional step in the like getting your labels and stuff approved. So depending on how long the testing lab takes, it might add an uh, you know a few weeks or a couple of months or something to your process, but that's about it. Once the TTB was like, oh, there is no meaningful amount of thujone in any absinthe product or any of these other things. Like everything they get tested it's going to pass because like just the processes that make these products like can't put that much thujone into the thing, like you can't extract it with alcohol or water in that volume. So they they're just sending, and here's the quantity they ask for to test. Now they're doing mass spec analysis, so they need a couple of drops, but they ask for two 750 milliliter bottles.
That's the
So there's
perks
a
of the
really great
job.
library of a whole lot of stuff somewhere in the federal government.
Perks
We're
of
gonna
the
need a pallet of this
Yeah,
just to be safe.
perks of the job.
Yeah, if you want to trip balls, eat some mushrooms, guys.
Yeah.
Right, right.
There's simpler ways, kids. Don't eat Tide Pods. Or I don't know. Maybe we're not doing that anymore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what
I'm
the
not
kids
sure
are
that
up
any of
to.
the people who were are listening to this podcast.
Yeah. 6'7" guys. Anyway, let's talk about oh yeah, I don't have enough room in my closet to do the hands, but apparently that's part of it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, let's talk about something that anyone who gets 6'7" probably shouldn't be drinking because they're all too young for it. Your new product, which I am super stoked about. I've been hearing about this for months, and I am excited to debut it on our podcast. The Monk Parakeet from Violet Crown Spirits. It is an herbal liqueur, an herbal cordial.
Hmm.
So I don't actually know the answer to this, and I want to ask, how coy do we have to be about what this is based? Do we have to refer to it as a takeoff of Shireen Chartreuese, which, as we all know, is a well-known and beloved film actress of the silent era?
I mean, it
Or
feels
are
like you're hitting it
you?
right on the head with putting monk on the label.
Yeah,
I certainly do. Yeah, no, it's no secret that basically like once and I know that Sother gave a great explainer about how it wasn't truly like the shortage as people described it when it suddenly became much harder to get. I think it's it continues to be hard to get in a lot of places in Texas and throughout the states. And I think that just has more to do with the increasing demand as as people learn about cocktails more and more places are serving that stuff. Then like, all right, well, the production has stayed fairly steady, and there's just more people trying to get it and whatnot. And so I was like heartbroken that there were bars that were like having to take their like there's this wonderful little bar called the Tigress in Austin on North Loop, and everybody should go when they come to town. And they have this wonderful cocktail, and they were like not able to serve it. It's like one of their perennial favorites. It's one of the few that they always keep on the menu because, or like it's most of the year it's on the menu because it's such a big favorite. And I'm like, man, like what if people didn't have to take their chartreuse cocktails off the menu, even though they can't get a bottle of that stuff? And I'm watching like bars that when they finally can get their hands on bottles, then hoarding it, and then I wonder about who else can't get it on their
Yep.
anyway. So I was like, well, this seems like a problem I could fix, because we do this like herbal and bitter and herbaceous AF thing. And I like a challenge. Most of our recipes that we've done, other than Absinthe, have been sort of like a creative endeavor, like trying to do something that we think is delicious, but isn't necessarily like anything else. And this one was like a whole other challenge of like, how do you recreate like the mouth feel and the sort of like array of flavors as they like as it hits your palate, like what like notes does that hit and all that stuff. Like, do you get the taste on the finish, and does it have the floral and whatever? And man, it took 11 versions to get something, and 34 herbs and spices. And I don't know, Greg's gonna taste it, and you tell me. I don't call it a clone because like it would have been a much more involved process for R&D to like try and clone it. But a reverse engineering resulting in something like I like to think of it as a twin, right? Like if you taste it right back to back, then you can tell which one is which. But I bet you if you encounter one or the other in the wild, you won't know which is which.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's you said you sent me a bottle, and the FedEx has disappointed us once again. So mine hasn't arrived, but Greg got his. So crack it open,
I
Greg.
did. Well,
Okay.
Greg got his through no small amount of legwork on my own. I missed this arrived at my house this morning. I missed the FedEx guy by 5 minutes,
Oof.
and I chased down Jess no less than 3 different FedEx trucks to be
Whoa.
like, "Do you have my package on board?" I was literally on the phone with customer service being like, "Hey, can you help me find this dude?" When person number 3 walked out of an apartment complex, and I was like, "Hey, did I just miss you at my apartment?" I gave him my address, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got one for you." So I just put it in my phone. I was like, "Never mind, I found him. Thanks, bye." And got
Amazing.
it. So I am super stoked to try this. And as I'm uncorking it here and pouring it into my nice little glass that I brought, I want to ask about that twinning process. Damon's not here to talk about twins, unfortunately. Sother, do the thing.
Oh yeah.
I teed you up for it, buddy. This is your move.
Creepy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Get real up in the mic when you say it. That's
Yeah.
perfect. But talk to me about trying to get close to the spirit, but I imagine it's almost more interesting to create something that is in its own way unique than something that is a perfect indistinguishable facsimile. So how'd you go about doing that, both in terms of the chemistry and just creatively?
I mean, like m- a few different things, right? I mean, like trying to sort of match sort of the I think of it like a melody, right? Like when you take because I come from songwriting, so this is where my brain goes with this, right? So like you take your sip and then there's like what hits first and there's what hello
Pretty.
and as it spreads over your tongue and then after you've swallowed and like what lingers, what's the finish, all that stuff, that's like a melody. So I want to hit all the same notes in the melody.
Mm.
Ooh, I'm watching Greg's face. See, I am also creepy. I like to watch people taste things that I made for the first time, so I'm like
Just as over there, like, drink that again, but slower this time.
Yeah, more eye
yeah,
contact.
pretty much, yep.
Anyway,
um
don't let my perversion cut you off. Please go ahead.
all the perverts have come to the party. So we just were like trying, we I mean, like I said, it was 11 versions in, and I'd say by about version 6 or 7 we were like 95% there, and that's not
Mhm.
just us, that's like at that point we brought feedback from our expert panel to assess, and they also were like, yeah, you're like 95% there, but like that last 5% is like 4 more iterations, and like we started off with a certain amount of juniper, because it's got a lot of juniper going on in there, right?
Mhm.
And then we kept adding more and more juniper, and it's like there's something like piney and junipery that is like still missing, even though we've gone way overboard on the juniper. It's still not hit it yet. And like uh after 7, 8, 9 iterations, we kind of got back to sort of because we'd sort of gone down a bunch of little rabbit trails, and like what could it be out of all these possible herbs, these alpine, or the 130 or whatever that they claim. It's like that's a lot of herbs to try, right? So
Mhm.
there's a place called the Herb Bar in Austin. We went down to the Herb Bar and we're like sniffing stuff, and like maybe this, maybe that, what about this, what about that, there's like this florality that we're missing. Like, is it like an actual flower thing, or is it something, like what, how do we, so we kept making adjustments of stuff we already had in it to try and bring out more of something out of what's already there. And then eventually we just sort of went back to like, all right, what if we look at the herbs de Provence? And one of the things that we had not considered was bay leaf as much. I think of that more as like, I put that in like for my chili or a soup or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
and a whole leaf. But if you grind up a bay leaf into a very fine, almost I mean, if it doesn't, it's basically a powder. You'll get a much more like piney and almost astringent flavor out of it than
Interesting.
you do when it's just a whole leaf. And so like so we went back to the herbs of Provence and ground them up real fine, and then suddenly we've like leapt forward in our, that towards that. I'd say it's like 99%, you know, the same sort of like arc of flavor, experience, and finish, and where it hits the high notes and the low notes and all that stuff. So
Incredible.
anyway,
Yeah,
I don't know, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love that there's a discovery in the process, right? So you're in the process of discovery, but you discovered a new flavor component based on how you processed the ingredient. And bay leaves, I think, get a bad rap. I'm a huge fan of them. I like to use them a lot. One of the things I like them in is next time, I don't know, the home listener makes a lot of creme brulee, but next time you're making a creme brulee, put in several bay leaves, and that will tell you what bay leaves do. Because people always say, "Why do I have to put them in my stock? I can't taste them. They're not doing anything." I'm like, make a creme brulee with bay leaf, and then you know what bay leaves do.
Mhm.
Ooh, that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Now I
Um,
can't. Now wait.
yeah, get in the kitchen. Um, well, so it sounds like you set out with a target in mind. So you put a target on the back of that brand, the very famous one. Um,
There's no way to kill that.
no,
Like
exactly. That's the thing. No one's gonna take them
some
down.
little twerp. Exactly.
So, Sother, I know that you, like me, are no stranger to a multitude of different living arrangements, living with partners, living with roommates, living by yourself. And I'm sure you have found, like me, that your personal assessment of how much room in the freezer should be dedicated to making just ice is, let's say, a touch higher than the general populations. And I thought that this was just going to be the way things were forever until I realized there is a clear ice machine that sits on your countertop.
Yeah, Claris. I love this thing. I've had one for quite some time. It cranks out 4 beautiful 2x2 perfectly glass clear cubes every 8 hours. What you do is you get up in the morning and you harvest the ice out of it and put it into a zip top bag into your freezer. And then you fill it with water and you go to work. And when you come home from work, you harvest again and refill it. And then you repeat that and you've got 40 cubes of ice for the weekend.
And we haven't even gotten to the fact that the ice it makes is beautiful. It's crystal clear, it's nice and hard, it's nice and cold, and it will make your drinks look fantastic and sexy. So, if you want to have sexy cocktails for the holidays and not get into any fights with your friends and significant others about how much freezer space you're taking up, go to craftclaris.com, and when you're ready to buy, use promo code SPEAKEASY10 for 10% off your order. That's Speakeasy, the number's 10 for 10% off. Cheers.
Well, Greg, you've got it there.
I do.
Liquid to
I'm
lips,
gonna
as she said. You
I'm
want
gonna
to
hold it up to
through it a little?
the camera there. Look at that. Yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube, everyone. Smash that like button. You know you want to. Look at that. It actually does look really nice. I mean, I am pretty impressed with how the mouthfeel and, as you mentioned, the heat from the alcohol come across. It is the exact same ABV, 55%. So it's got, that same heavyweight punch to it. The high notes, the only difference if I'm searching for one, and I don't mean this as a detraction, far from it. I actually think it's quite delightful. The high notes are, I would almost describe them as like a little bit feisty, a little bit prickly. The risk of saying the most pretentious thing I've ever said into a hot microphone. It kind of reminds me of like Jennifer Garner's on-screen performances, where it's like it's got a feisty, prickly, like standoffishness to it, but in a charming sort of a way. I like it.
Holy smoke.
That's great. And, we were trying it at 100 proof because the math was so much easier, but it really didn't work until it was 100% 55, 100 proof 55%, or 110 proof 55%, the same as the other one. Yeah, it just really didn't.
Listen, I we can dance around it all we want, but no one gets upset when someone puts another bourbon on the market. There should be more, herbal cordials, herbal liqueurs. Like, listen, that's my entire business model at Mori Margo. Like, bring them on. The more the merrier. The high tide raises all boats. All these phrases that we can say over and over. So I don't think anyone should be poo-pooing.
I think there's plenty of room on the shelves.
Exactly.
For,
there is
that precious 3 inches of real estate. There's more slots.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I mean to ask the indelicate question here. I mean, the big motivation, I think, for you and a lot of other people who've been trying to crack this code is that thanks to this bank run, which is, part real, part fabrication, part just humans are lemmings and we hear something scary and we panic. Part of the motivation for trying to create these twins is because Chartreuese has gotten really, really, really expensive. I saw a bottle for $159 at a liquor store the other day. I've seen it low end, my beloved local liquor store that I'm pretty sure is a money laundering front for the mob and has really cheap prices as a result. Still has it for like $80, but that's not nothing.
Yeah.
Are you able
like
to
65?
Yeah, which was still not that, not nothing. Not pocket change. It was an expenditure every time I ran out of green Chartreuse from my home bar and wanted to get another bottle. So,
but it balanced itself out by being high enough proof that you don't need to use a ton in each application, right? So that was but you're right. I saw a bottle of VEP, just the regular green VEP for $1,600.
Goodness gracious! I mean, and the true price of anything is what people will pay it.
That's correct.
But
so
are you? But as we've been talking about, yours has that 55% ABV. It goes the same places that the OG one can go. Are you seeing an ability to, I don't want to say undercut that market, because as we've discussed, we all have true respect for the original, but are you finding a niche for yourself where you can say, hey, like we tick all these boxes and you're not going to have to, you know, suppress the outrage when the person at the liquor store counter rings you up for this?
I mean, certainly our price is gonna be a lot lower. um, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and numbers don't stick very well in my brain. So I think it's around like 38, 39 retail when it gets to the shelf in Texas. I don't know what it would be like,
That
you
for a
know.
750?
Yep.
That's
Damn.
great. That's great.
Yeah. And then, some places will mark it up more, or like when we go to some other state, it might be more like 40 to 45 or something, but that's still going to be quite a bit different for our customers. It's quite a bit more than anything else in our liqueurs line. Up until now, they'd all been like the same price, and then we have this liqueur that's a bit more, but that's because it's 55%.
But still though, $38, that is flabbergasting to me.
Great
I was
deal.
expecting it to be a lot more than that. Are folks pumped when you tell people what it costs? Are people like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mostly have been having that conversation with like bartenders and stuff, and I'm like, hey, did you know? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm, and I really hope that turns into sales, because I'm trying to build a whole thing out. We've been operating out of a little warehouse unit in a business park for a long time, and we've bought land, and I want to put things on the land, and so
Yeah.
I want to sell a lot of monk parakeet and other things. So yeah, I know it's new, and so luckily I get to talk about it on your podcast, so hopefully more people will learn about it. And these days it's easy for the consumer, because we made an online store on our website, which was not a thing that we could do for, like, thanks COVID.
Right.
uh and all of that. So yeah, I think we're pretty near the threshold where we go from pre-sales to actual sales on the monk parakeet, because you gotta basically pump up the orders enough, and then they'll ship them out. And so I'm pretty excited to have that like launch here pretty soon. But yeah, I'm looking. I look forward to being able to give you better data about exactly how enthusiastic people are about it. But yeah, I think the potential is high. It seems, from the anecdotal evidence I have from doing tastings and having conversations with people who, dang, they just can't get their hands on that bottle.
Well, I mean, you've talked a little bit about this farm, and as Damon and his many barns can tell us, setting up a little farmhouse setup is not as easy as I think us city slickers might think it is. But what's your plan for that? I last heard about this when you actually sent me this adorable little model of kind of what the surrounding area was going to look like. I still have it; it's in my closet right over there.
Amazing.
Just
In a
because it's like,
different closet than the one you're in right now.
yes. Well, this apartment, I didn't even notice this until I moved into it. It has 4 closets. And moving from a place that had 1, I just basically had to turn one of them into a podcasting studio, because I'm like, what the fuck do I need with 4 closets? What am I? It offended my working class pride. I was just like, what kind of fancy man am I that needs 4 closets? I have a hall
Well, you
closet.
you need a screaming closet, though, don't you?
Oh, that's right. The screaming closet.
Yes,
We
yes,
can't we
that's
can't we
true.
can't forget about the screaming closet.
Yes, and in fact, I think we were doing this off air. This is totally off the beaten path. Maybe this will just be for the regulars. But what's a screaming closet, Jess? We've been texting about this, and I'm still not really sure.
Somebody just was making a joke about, the horrors which persist. And she's like, oh, well, it's off to the screaming closet for me. And I had never heard the phrase before. But as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, yes, of course. Like, that's naturally.
It
We all
instantly
need to
tells you
go.
what it is
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
and why it's necessary.
yes. Well, and like I think of it like, any glass is an absinthe glass if you pour absinthe in it.
That's right.
Any closet is a screaming closet if you go in there and scream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as famously said by young Greg Benson, any beach is a nude beach if you're not a coward.
Damn straight.
But yeah, I immediately thought of your little tiny closet with all of the little soundproofing foam, and I was like, that's a perfect screaming closet.
It's a great screaming closet. But yeah, and because I'm a courteous neighbor, I soundproofed mine, so it's nice, and I can I can wail existentially for hours in here, and my neighbors will be none the wiser.
I just found out, I
So
can't believe I
creepy.
didn't think of this before. So creepy. There's like a screaming club now in Austin. Like
Oh
people
yes, I've
go
seen
up
these. They're
to it.
popping up all over.
Yep. And I'm like, sound your barbaric yop. Let's go.
Hmm.
Get it out.
Getting back to what we actually said we were going to talk about before the show, what are your plans for the farm? Tell us a little
Yeah,
bit more
yeah.
about what is happening and what is planned for the future.
Yeah, sure. So, we bought 13 acres of a little slice of hill country heaven. In Bastrop, we're getting like basically once you get out far enough east of Austin, which is right about Bastrop, like
The
the
buzzing
road that.
metropolis of Bastrop, Texas.
Yes, yes. Where my fourth great grandfather arrived from Germany by way of the port of Galveston in 1856. Um, yep, got some old family history there. But yeah, so we got this piece of land that's right on this highway, which is basically where the piney woods start, and it's piney woods all the way to Louisiana and beyond from there. But we're still in the oak forest, so we have this little wildflower meadow that gives way to an oak forest and ends in a creek. Beautiful thing. So
Love it.
now that we've got a tractor, they said it wasn't going to be ready until maybe Christmas, and then we found out on Monday that we could go pick it up right away.
Oh,
So tomorrow we get to go and pick up the tractor. I was really excited when we reached the business achievement of forklift when we could take things up off of the floor and put them on shelves. That was a huge business achievement unlocked, and now I have unlocked tractor. And I can't wait to drive this thing. Uh, and yeah, I'm planning on planting a whole bunch of Artemisia absinthium, wormwood plants, and also the
hmm.
Artemisia pontica as soon as I can get my hands on. Those seeds are a little harder to find, but if you're wholesale and like actually agriculture, there's a few more resources available than they are to the average Joe. So I'm looking forward to bush hogging that thing and then putting down some herbs, and we just bought a steel building. We got to get a site plan, and there's engineering things that have to happen because it's just raw land.
Yeah.
So we got to deal with the water and the electric and all that stuff. But we're slowly plodding through all those various hurdles, and it's a very complicated puzzle to solve, but we're making it through. And so we'll probably actually start with like a covered like event center. There's sort of
Ooh.
there's a dearth of like wedding venues and stuff in the area, so we'll start with that because we can't quite build the whole thing immediately, but we can start at least making some money on the property. And my I have a buddy who has a business doing maintenance on commercial espresso machines, and he gave because Mancuso, in addition to being a microbiologist and all that stuff, is a very incredible fix-it man. So he took an espresso machine that had to be removed from service because it was so completely busted, and in about 3 weeks, created this or whatever, like restored this beautiful two-stage Aurelia Italian espresso machine to its full glory. So I've been getting wonderful lattes made for me every morning by that guy, and so we'll move that sucker out there. we'll
Nice.
get we'll see what we can get going out there. But yeah, as soon as we can, we'll move our operation out of that little warehouse space, and my bottling line will go from a coil to a straight line.
Ooh.
Nice.
A line-shaped line.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
luxury.
Linear lines. Whoa.
Super super fancy stuff, you guys. Super fancy stuff. Yeah, I'm just really excited, and that's Austin has grown. There's almost no like distinction. Like as you drive out from Austin, you can barely register that it's like from one city to another city anymore because there's so much stuff out there these days. So it's like the population is growing, and there's not quite so many things that are like second place, or sorry, third places for people to go. And I'm looking forward to like making that place that I want to go spend all of my time away from home. So
Well,
thanks.
that leads up to a nice, tidy finish to the show. We've been asking at the end of the show these days, and you just talked about Austin a lot, and you're not far from there. Where you been drinking these days? Want to shout out somebody that you like to go see and sit at the bar?
Man, there's so many great places, and I already mentioned the Tigress. Let's see, where's the last place that I went and had a great. Oh man, okay, so there's a little place called Holiday, and their food and their cocktails are great, and their bar, like the atmosphere is great. You can actually like it feels like a party, but you can still talk. Uh, and so yeah, Holiday over on Springdale and Seventh is pretty awesome. And they do a Oh, they always have a frozen, and of course I'm gonna blank on it right now, but like I'm not usually a frozen drinks girl, but theirs is so good that I just always have to have it. So that is definitely like a great spot to, if you're in Austin, hop on over to Holiday.
Listen,
Fantastic.
everybody loves a holiday.
Don't we? And especially some sort of a holiday cocktail lounge we all
Yeah.
enjoy as well.
Oh
Yes.
man, I mean, if I was in New York, that'd probably be the first place I'd go
Oof.
after a Maria
It's
Margo.
I mean, it's usually the last place you go.
you can roll from one to the other.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Well, Jess, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the
Really has.
show and hanging out with us and overnighting me a bottle of Monk Parakeet, which is available for pre-sale now. Do you have a set drop date? When is this going to go from pre-sale to sale?
I wish I could tell you that, but it's kind of a moving target. So soon. It's go place your pre-order. It'll hit the deliveries. I think before
Well,
the end of
that's
the
part
year.
of the momentum, right? The more pre-orders you get, the quicker it's going to come. So
Exactly.
we're telling you, get out there and order. We'll put the link in the show notes so you can go order your Monk Parakeet and other products from Violet Crown Spirits. You can have them hopefully by the holidays. .com. You can have them hopefully by the holidays. We get in there and order. So get in there and do it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
fellas.
No worries. And where else can people follow you online if they want to keep up with your various adventures?
The Violet Crown Spirits Instagram is sort of the main hub of our what social media presence we have is there. If you're interested in all of my antics, I occasionally post on my personal Instagram, but really it's the Violet Crown Spirits is the place to go.
Personal Instagram can get a little unhinged though. So it's a fun follow too. So if you're already there, listener, and following Violet Crown, just follow it. You won't be disappointed. You know, I'll just say that. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Jess. But that is going to do it for us this week on the Speakeasy. However, if you still find yourself wanting, you can become a regular on our Patreon. Our regulars get, and you probably know this by now, you hear me say it every show, but they get cocktail recipes from all of our guests, access to our live monthly hangouts, ad-free listening, a free cocktail kit each and every month from our friends at Shaker and Spoon, and more podcast. You get a second helping that nobody else gets except our other regulars, of course. We hung out and talked a lot more with Jess today about all things absinthe and elixirs and tractors. So if you want to hear more about that, sign up and become a regular today. And our next After Hours Hangout is this coming Monday, November 24th at 8 p.m. It is the last Monday of the month, and so Sother and myself are going to be hanging out live in 3 dimensions, taking questions and taking requests about what you would like to see us drink. So if you are intrigued by that, and who wouldn't be, become a regular and join us on Monday, this Monday,
By the way,
November 24th.
By the way, it's the week of Thanksgiving. That's the day. That's the 24th. Is the day after my birthday, and we'll be joined special guest. We'll definitely have some turkey, and we'll have Granddad.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the special guest? It's bourbon. You teed that up like it was a person, but bourbon is also a very special guest.
I typically spend Thanksgiving with a wild turkey and my granddad.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting him. He sounds like a sophisticated man. And of course, we are now on YouTube. So you can check us out at youtube.com/@speakeasy.podcast. And while you're there, like, subscribe, comment, help us beat the algorithm and reclaim this planet for the people.
Yes.
Link is in the show notes as always. And be sure to tune in next week when our guest is Nikki Nellis. She is a food and drink personality from my hometown of Washington, D.C. So be sure to tune in for that. But until then,
Well, one
happy
more.
Thanksgiving.
I got one more.
We got one more? Okay.
Yeah, can't let up on my sauced podcast Kickstarter.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Sauced, of course.
Yes.
Tell us about
The Kickstarter is going.
Are you going to do a special like cranberry sauced
Oh,
takeover next week?
yeah,
That idea is free. You can have that
That
one.
sounds good too. The podcast Kickstarter is going quite well. It's up until December 6th, so you got a little over a week or so to go from the time this thing airs. Or I guess that's 2 weeks. 2 weeks to go from the time this thing airs. We're about to break another stretch goal. We're having a really fun time doing it. We're offering a bunch of new fun rewards. Listen, let's get sauced together.
Let's get sauced. And now you can be sure to tune in for all of that next week. But happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope the coming week is full of good food and good people for you all. Thank you for being a listener. Really means a lot. And until we see each other next time, Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
So you don't charm the devil with your rock and roll, Lord. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The